Welcome to Move with Maegen. I'm Dr. Maegen Brady, physical therapist, and this evening we'll be focusing on lower body strengthening and flexibility work with a specific attention to the IT band. The IT band is a series of tissue that runs along the outside of the leg. It comes from the top of the hip and runs down to the outside of the knee. It can cause difficulty to many people who are very active, who are constantly moving and flexing through the hip and the leg, as well as sometimes when we find ourselves sitting a little bit more than normal, that area can become a little bit tighter. So we're going to start this evening. If you have a tennis ball or foam roller, we're just going to start with a little bit of rolling to that area. So you can find a comfortable seat, either in a chair or on the ground. We're just going to start by doing a little bit of self-massage to the area. So you can start with the ball anywhere along the outside of the leg, starting towards the top of the hip, using the tennis ball, the foam roller, even your knuckles work out really well for doing a little bit of self-massage. So whatever you have to just start to get in touch with your body a little bit, get in touch with your breathing. So as you roll on the outside of the leg, we never want any pain. You should always be able to continually breathe, and it may feel tight or a bit uncomfortable, but never any pain with any of this. So I'll remind you to continue to take some deep breaths in through the nose as you're massaging the outside of the leg, and continue to take deep breaths out through the mouth or the nose. So that IT band, it starts at the top of the hip, so we can be rolling towards the top of the hip. We could be taking big strokes going down the side of the leg. The fibers of the muscle, the fascia, run down the aspect of the leg, so we're kind of going parallel to the fibers. We're going with them right now. And then finally, it kind of lands on the outside of the knee, kind of inserts a little bit below the knee joint. So we're going to be continuing to massage the outside of the knee as well. This is a nice area to start to go away from parallel with the fibers and start to go perpendicular. So that means bringing your tennis ball, your foam roller up and down, your knuckles kind of going away from the knee and then towards the knee. So we're kind of working our way across there. So nice to get a little bit of pressure, a little bit of massage, a little bit of blood flow to the outside of the leg before we start to really work it. And I see as some people are filtering in right now, just starting with a little bit of that self-massage to one leg. And you could be seated like this, you could be sitting in a chair. Before we move on to the other leg and you can continue to work on this leg, I'll just show you another variation is to lay on your side and do it. So if you have a foam roller or your ball, you can put the other leg on top or behind you, and you can do the exact same massage with the ball by rolling up and down. Little bit more work for the upper body, but definitely get a lot of good pressure with that. We're going to take the ball and then work our way to the other side. So you can take the tennis ball, take your fingers, your knuckles, and just take it over to the other leg. So we'll start at the top of the hip and many different parts of the hip, very complex area. But the area that the muscle really comes from is that kind of wing bone, the outside of the hip, where if we find ourselves kind of putting our hands on our hips, that's really where we're looking to start. Up at the top there, kind of rolling down the leg, maybe breaking it up into thirds or quarters, just kind of going up and down the first quarter, the fourth third, then making our way towards the mid portion. And, as we continue, just another minute of massage on this leg. I'll always pitch and support that, unfortunately, in these quarantine times, and I so appreciate being able to move here and to have the space to be able to move with all of you. I know that a lot of us are kind of missing that massage or, that maybe part of our self-care routine. So it's really nice to be able to kind of empower yourself to do some of your own self-massage. It's also a lot cheaper, and you know exactly what to do. You know exactly the areas to hit. Really anywhere that feels good is fair game. Nowhere should give you tingling or numbness or pain. You just want to be working kind of into the muscles. And the muscle we're working that goes all the way down the side of the leg, that IT band, or that ITB, it can also really feel good to go across it, right around the knee joint. A lot of runners or walkers sometimes will have knee pain on the outside. Sometimes we tend to rely on this ITB a little bit too much. So as we transition out of doing the self-massage now, we're going to work our way down to the ground and start to strengthen the muscles around it to help it out, give it some support, and also stretch. All right, so you can put your ball away for now. Keep it handy if you want to be working on anything else, but we're going to make our way down to our backs now. So we're going to start with our knees bent and our feet flat on the ground. We're going to start with a little pelvic tilting. So first, we're going to kind of arch our back away from the ground a little bit, and then we're going to try to kind of flatten that curve, that arch in our low back down towards the ground. So first, allowing our hips to rotate forward, kind of allowing our back to arch up off the ground a little bit, making a concave shape with the back, and then pressing it down towards the ground, trying to flatten that arch, that curve down towards the ground by tightening the belly button. Breathe out. And then as you arch away, you can breathe in. Just a comfortable range of motion, not forcing anything. And then exhaling as you glue the low back down to the ground. If you're on a sandy beach, you'd be imprinting your spine on the sand. Relax your shoulders, your jaw, your head, just letting the pelvis and the low back arch up. We'll do 2 more each way. If it feels good, you can continue on. But just working into the breath, breathing out as you glue the low back down. 1 more arching, tilting the pelvis forwards. And then last one here, tilting our pelvis downwards, tipping the tailbone up, flattening the low back down. Nice. Next, we'll go ahead and hug the right knee in towards the chest. Go ahead and send the left leg out straight down towards the ground. So as you gently hug the right knee in towards the chest, we're going to take 5 deep breaths here. So allowing that left leg to relax down towards the ground. Inhale. Lengthen through your spine, the front of the leg. Exhale, imagining that knee sinking a little closer to your chest. Inhaling, getting long through the spine. And exhaling, relaxing that left leg down towards the ground, kind of separating the hips by bringing the right leg a little closer towards the chest. 2 or 3 more deep breaths in and deep breaths out. So your inhales are to fill up. Exhales are to release. So you're going to keep the left leg straight. Go ahead and bring your hand on the outside of that right leg. Gently draw that right leg across your body towards the other side. You can keep the right arm down by the side, or you can stretch it out to the side like a T. We're going to take 5 breaths, maybe looking over that right shoulder for a little twist through the spine. So inhaling in and exhaling out. And the same thing with stretches apply to massage. There should be no pain, just nice, easy breaths in and out. 1 or 2 more to fill up with air. Exhales, let that knee drop a little farther. Now to come back to the middle, inhale, kind of hug that knee in towards the chest for 1 more beat, and then send that leg back down straight. We're going to switch over to the other side, so hugging the left knee in towards the chest. So as we take a few deep breaths here, maybe wailing the toes out if it feels good, relaxing that right leg down into the ground. As you take a few deep breaths in through your nose and out through your nose or mouth, we'll say that the hip is a ball and socket joint, so your thigh bone is the ball that fits into the rim of the pelvis, that socket. So right now we're working into a little bit of flexion with the left leg. And just by the opposite, just by gravity taking it down, the right leg is working a little bit into extension. Both range of motion we need for everyday things like walking. Let's do one more breath in. And then on the next breath out, let's slowly bring that leg towards the opposite side of the body. You can send that left arm out to the side like a T, stretching through the front of the chest. And you can even gaze over that left shoulder. So we'll take 5 deep breaths here. So every exhale, imagine like you're a sponge wringing, allowing it to go a little bit deeper. And as we take a few more deep breaths, we'll say that we're stretching not only the low back into a little bit of rotation, but the outside of the hip, a bit of that IT band as well. So one more breath in, and one more breath out, sink. And then we'll inhale to come back to the middle. Let's take both legs in towards the chest for a minute. So you can take your hands right underneath your knees. Your knees can be really close together if that feels good. If you want to bring them apart a little bit from each other, you can rock side to side, kind of massaging your low back, or stay totally flat. Whatever feels good. We'll do 5 deep breaths. And I think a good reason to focus on the hips tonight is that there's a lot of things going on between the coronavirus and between racial injustices and turbulence going on in the country. So sometimes not only in our shoulders do we store tension and stress, but sometimes we can store that in our hips. So it's nice to kind of breathe into these areas. That's all we want to do tonight. Just send a little bit of self-care, a little bit of deep breathing. So on the next breath out, we'll bring the legs back down to the ground. Bring your feet flat down on the ground, knees at a comfortable bend. Kind of brace your hands on the ground as you tilt the tailbone and peel the hips up off the ground into a bridge. Little pause at the top, squeeze, and then slowly roll back down. So we're going to do about 10 of these. It's nice to kind of massage the low back down into the ground, like that pelvic tilt, as you slowly peel the spine one vertebrae at a time, like a string of blocks or a string of pearls, and then from the top rolling back down to the ground, releasing that pelvic tilt last. So again, breathing one way as you tighten the tailbone up, squeezing your glutes, the butt at the top, rolling back down. And again, it's the breath in one way, just to a comfortable height, not forcing it, but just going to a comfortable place where you can breathe and squeeze. Again, lifting up, pause. Awesome job. We'll do about 5 more of these at your own pace and your own breathing. Just knowing that you're getting these legs super strong, glutes, quads. Breathing. Awesome job. 2 more. And last one. Squeeze and slow lower back down. Awesome. Bring the feet close together. Just let your knees kind of butterfly apart from each other. Your arms can come out with the palms up, shoulders at a comfortable distance. And we'll take 5 deep breaths here. So in this position, the ball and socket joint is kind of rotated externally. We're allowing the muscles we just worked to shorten and relax a little bit, allowing our spine to just kind of sink down to the ground. Nice deep breath in and breath out. We talk about, sleep and how restorative sleep is. This can be a really nice pose to kind of take before you go to bed. go. And then on the next inhale, bring your feet back together. Go ahead and lift your right ankle, cross it over the left knee, and we're going to take the opposite hand, draw that knee towards the chest, towards the opposite shoulder. We're going to take 5 deep breaths here. So now we're taking that ball and socket joint on the right side and we're kind of rotating it internally. 5 nice deep breaths. So inhales, lengthen through your spine, see where you can root through your hips to stay flat. Exhale, see where you can get a little more space. Inhales. Exhales, trying to release the muscle. One more full breath cycle. And then on your next breath out, go ahead and keep the ankle there, but bringing that knee towards the opposite direction, so kind of pushing it away from you. I like to switch my hands, have the same hand, the right hand, on the front of the thigh. 5 deep breaths here, gently pushing that knee away. Now we're externally rotating the hip away from us. So inhaling and exhaling, seeing not just where in the muscles in the hip you can relax, but where you can relax in your shoulders. If you're holding on it with your jaw, your forehead, allowing those to create space. One more. And unhook the ankle, take both hands behind the back of the leg, and we're going to go ahead and kick the leg straight up to the ceiling, extending the knee, bringing the toes up towards us, kind of stamping the heel up towards the ceiling, and we're going to take 5 deep breaths here. Inhaling, getting long through the back of the leg and the spine, exhaling, releasing. Inhaling, gentle stretch, never forcing it. Exhaling, seeing where you can relax. One more inhale. And exhale, gently bend that knee, bring the foot down to the ground. So we're going to switch it over to the other side. So go ahead and take the left foot, cross the left over the right knee. Take your hand and pull that knee towards your chest, towards the opposite shoulder, so you have a little bit of a force going towards the shoulder. Nice 5 deep breaths in. So inhaling, getting oxygen to the muscles. Exhaling, seeing where you can let go a little bit more. Your ankle, your foot, your hip. Inhaling, getting long. Exhaling, releasing. Do one more breath cycle here. And then on your next exhale, go ahead and keep the ankle there. Maybe switch hands as you push the knee gently away from you. So you're kind of pressing the general downwards and out direction, rotating that hip outwards, getting a little stretch in the glutes, the piriformis. So we'll be here for 5 deep breaths. Inhaling and exhaling. 5 deep breaths is about 20 to 30 seconds, and that's how long it takes for the muscle fibers to really start to separate from each other and relax. But instead of counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, taking 5 deep breaths kind of gets you in tune with your body and where things feel good. And if alarm bells start to go off, you're noticing them with your breath. Now go ahead and unhook the ankle, take both hands underneath the back of the leg. Go ahead and gently straighten the leg towards the ceiling, stamping the foot towards the roof, towards the sky. I don't know about where you guys were today. Here in Connecticut, it was really nice today. In Somerville, it was pretty cloudy and overcast. We did get some sunshine. But imagining stamping that foot up towards whatever skies we have. You know, Saturday were some impressive lightning storms all over. Friday with a full moon. So whatever the conditions, whatever the weather, we always have our breath and our body to come back to. So one more breath in. And then exhaling, bringing that foot back down to the ground. Go ahead and keep the left leg bent that we just put down. Straighten the right leg out, bring it all the way down to the mat. Preparing to lift the leg about halfway up the other shin. To do that, you want to kind of squeeze and tone your thigh muscles by pressing the back of the knee down to the mat, setting your quads, and then breathing in, lifting just a few inches, really not too high. Pause, and then exhale as you come back down. That knee is straight as an arrow on the way up and the way down. So inhaling, coming up, again, exhaling, coming down. We'll do about 10 of these or so. Again, inhaling and exhaling, rooting through your belly button, your low back to keep your core and your back strong. That leg lifting up with the control and down with control. Nice job. 5 more. Inhales and exhales. Flexing the leg up, controlling that extension down. Awesome. 2 more. And finish strong, straight all the way back down before we slide the heel underneath you to match the other leg, and then slide that left heel away from you to straighten it out. Same thing on the other side. Strong belly, strong core. Tone those left quads, squeeze that kneecap up, and then about halfway up the other shin, lift up, pause, and slow lower down. Again, inhaling as you come up, exhaling as you come down. So we do about 10 to 30 of these to strengthen the muscles. Only you know how many is a good amount, so it could be different every day. You want to kind of lightly toast the muscles, be working them at the end so that they're tired but not so burnt you can't move the next day. People always ask me as a physical therapist, they say, what can I do to relieve my knee pain, and what can I do to get my legs stronger? The straight leg raise is something you can easily do in bed or on the ground or the couch. And it really gets the quads, the thigh muscles stronger for walking or snowboarding, and also strengthens the hip flexors in the front of the leg. All structures that help take any tension off the outside of the leg. So let's do about 1 more. I know I'm feeling it. And then exhale as we come back down. Go ahead and bend both of the knees. You can bring your arms out to the side a little bit, like a T or about a 45-degree angle, just to get them out of the way. But your right leg your ankle's gonna kind of hook over the left leg. You're gonna draw your left knee in towards the right side. So it's a little bit of a pretzel kind of maneuver here, but the right ankle is on top of that left knee as that left knee falls to the inside. And your back should stay, for the most part, flat. It may want to come up, but just try to keep it down. Relaxing through the chest. We'll take about 4 or 5 deep breaths here. So inhaling and exhaling. Your feet may be kind of off the mat, and that's fine. That's normal. Inhaling and exhaling. Seeing where you can let go a little bit more. 1 more breath cycle in and out. Inhaling, coming back to the middle, unhooking that ankle, bringing it back down to the ground, and then switching sides. So the left ankle is going to hook over the right. Again, so seeing where you can kind of keep flat through the back, go ahead and kind of let that right knee float towards the inside. A little bit of a pretzel stretch here. This gets towards the outside of that leg. We'll take 4 or 5 deep breaths in and out. You may feel this in your hip, you may feel this in your back, all connected, all good stuff, as long as you can breathe in and out. We'll do 2 more. Last one. Sweet. Go ahead and bring slowly both legs back up. Bring the foot back down, and we're going to roll to one side. So keeping the knees bent, go ahead and roll to one side. If you have a pillow that you want to use, you can use that. You can use your hand or like a bicep underneath your head for a little bit of support. We're going to start with the knees bent, the feet stacked on top of each other. The top knee is going to lift up towards the ceiling. The foot is actually going to stay down. So lifting just the knee up, we'll pause and then back down. The top hand can rest on your hip if you'd like to keep it steady. It should really stay stacked on top of each other. Inhaling as the knee comes up, exhaling as they come back down, getting some oxygen to the muscles, exhaling, letting that waste out. Nice. 5 more. Nice and controlled. Good work, everybody. 2 more. And last one. Whew. Stay on your side. You can keep your bottom leg bent a little bit, but go ahead and straighten out that top leg. If your body was a clock and the bottom was like 6 o'clock, you want to be bringing the leg a little bit back, maybe to 5 o'clock or 7 o'clock, depending on which side you're on. So your heel is slightly behind you as you lift the leg straight up to the side, about 6 inches or so, and then back down. So again, lifting up, pausing, and then back down, lifting up, and controlled down. So just going in a range of motion that feels okay for you. We don't have to be like Rockettes kicking it all the way up to the ceiling. 6 inches is good. Do 5 more. 5, 4, 3, working those glutes. So healthy for you. 2 more. And last one. Awesome. Okay, let's go ahead and take it over to the other side. I said we were going to work on getting those muscles stronger. I did not lie. We're going to go over to the opposite side. Go ahead and start with the knees bent. Keep the foot flat on the ground. Maybe a hand on the hip to keep you honest. Keep them straight. You don't want any cheating by rolling back. So lifting the knee up, pause, and then down. Just that little pause at the top, but keep that breathing going. So as we do 10 of these, I'll talk a little bit about why we do these, that ball and socket joint, the hip that we're working here on externally rotating. We're kind of isolating those stabilizing muscles, the ones that kind of wrap around the ball and socket, around our tailbone. They keep us super steady when we're balancing on one leg, whether that's walking or practicing doing stairs or balance work. They keep us steady when we go into a squat position or get down into an athletic stance. And they can help to stabilize and take pressure off other areas. When people ask me about how to reduce knee pain, this is a great way to do it. Let's do 1 more. And back down. By the way, if you ever really want to challenge yourself, bands like a TheraBand around your knees or ankle weights tied around your ankle or your knee would be great here. The ankle weight or the bands would then transfer to the feet or just the top foot for the ankle weight. Now side leg lifts, we'll do about 10 of these. About 6 inches or so lifting up. Keeping that heel slightly extended back away from you so that we're really working the muscles in the back of the leg. Nice inhales and exhales. 5 more. I say Jane Fonda ain't got nothing on us. And I learned who Jack LaLanne was a few weeks ago from one of my patients. Look them up if you haven't heard of them. It's a real treat. And rest. Awesome. All right, now we are going to work our way onto our stomach. So I'm going to turn towards here. All right, so let's start with our hands like stacked on top of each other, or, hand on top of hand, like a little pillow. Bend both of your knees. You're just going to kind of windshield wiper your knees side to side here a few times. So the knees bent at a 90-degree angle, and the ankles rock towards one way, and then the ankles rock towards the other way. The hips may want to come up off the ground. That's okay, that's normal, but just seeing if we can keep them flat for the most part. I'll just do this a few times each way, kind of massaging the ball and socket joints and the hips and the low back. A little rotation here. Let's do one more each direction. Awesome. Go ahead and bring the legs straight back. We're going to bring the hands right underneath, right next to the shoulders. We're going to give some strength to the front of the thighs, strength to the quads, tucking the tailbone, lift the chest up just a little bit, and then exhale, come flat back down. So tightening your tailbone underneath you to protect your low back, inhaling, coming up only as far as feels okay. Again, we're going to do about 10 of these, so keeping the neck in a straight position, maybe picking a spot just a few inches past your fingertips. If you feel comfortable and feel good, you can press up a little bit more. But these little back bends, these aren't something we normally get to do for the front of our hips when we're sitting all day. And we don't throw something in the trash backwards. So this isn't something our back is always used to doing. It's something we want to just gently practice as we breathe in one way, exhale the other. Let's do 2 more inhales and exhales. 1 more inhale in and exhale down. All right, we are going to come into a plank in this position. So I'll show a plank on your knees and your forearms. If you want to go onto a full plank on your feet, you would lift up, or onto your hands, you would go into like a push-up position. But you're going to start with your elbows right underneath your shoulders. Your head is going to be looking just a few inches past your hands. You can bend your knees slightly so you can balance on the knees. And then when you're ready, we're going to push up, making a flat line from the head down to the tailbone. And we're going to take 5 or 4 deep breaths in and out. Maintaining that line, inhale and exhale. Feeling the strength of your muscles wrapping around your core, inhale and exhale. 1 or 2 more, you got this. And slowly come back down. Nice. Next, we'll balance again on the knees if that's comfortable for you, or you can come into a full push-up position. But we're gonna do maybe 10 push-ups here. So you can be in a flat line. If this is a little bit too much, you can kind of lift the hips up a little bit. But in a flat line, hands spread nice and wide. Your index finger is pointing straight forward, and your thumb is about a 90-degree angle, pretending if you were like rotating jars open opposite directions. So slowly lower and then push up. So inhale one way, doesn't matter which, and then exhale the other. Pain-free range, so no shoulder pain, no neck pain. You can always do these on the wall too, just as effective. Keep the tailbone tucked under. Nice, we're going to do 5 more. You got this. Last few. 2 more. And last one. Whew, awesome job. All right, you can come into a seated position. We're going to finish with a few minutes of meditation. Awesome job with the hard work, everybody. We did some self-massage, we did some nice stretching, and finished with some really good strengthening for the legs and the whole body, stabilizing. So for a few minutes of meditation, you can come either flat onto your back like we started with. You can come into a seated kind of butterfly or crisscross position, or if you want to come into a chair, that may be more comfortable for you. So we'll start here, just taking the heart rate down a little bit by taking some deep breaths in through the nose and then out through the nose or mouth. maybe putting a hand on your chest or your diaphragm, seeing where you can expand a little bit more on your inhales in, and where you can kind of vacuum out more on the exhales out. You can keep the hands there, relax them down. Nice inhales in and exhales out. I want to spend a minute reflecting on kindness, because in a world where so many things are unjust and can really be challenging to see the light, it's nice to kind of look inwards and reflect a little bit on kindness. So as you take a few more deep breaths in, I just want you to politely put on pause anything that you've been thinking about all day, that you've been doing, working on, anything you have to do later. Just kind of politely put that on the shelf for right now, especially as you inhale in. Just thinking about you. This is the only thing you have to do right now. And exhales. So as you have your eyes closed and you're focused on your breathing, think about your midline, maybe your core, your belly button, or right below your heart. Imagining there's like a ball of light or a bright spot within you. So just envisioning like a mini sun or a bright spot of sunlight within you. So as you breathe in, imagine it getting a little bit brighter. And as you exhale, imagine it getting a little bit stronger. So I want you to think about something that you have done in the past that was geared towards kindness. You may have said something nice to someone, encouraged a coworker, a friend. You may have done something nice and not even told anybody it was you. So I want you to reflect on how that felt and imagine that bright spot growing a little bit brighter. Imagine that feeling and hold it within you. As you inhale in and exhale out. So looking inward is a great place to start. Maybe you can look outward, and maybe you can think of a time where someone has been very kind to you and shown you kindness. Maybe someone's helped pick you up when you're down or supported you. So how did that make you feel in that moment? I want you to take that in and bring that to that bright spot. So a few more inhales, thinking about that feeling and how good that is, and exhales out. There may be many instances in our world that do not show kindness, but every single one of us, everyone in this world, all beings have experienced kindness either from themselves or from someone else. And if we can really think about that more within, we can bring that more without. So I'll invite you to take one more closing, deepest breath in you've taken all day. And then exhale, imagining that ball kind of spreading as far as you would like it to. Your town, the whole state, the whole country, maybe expanding to the world. Where can you take that? You can start to gently come out of this. Unless you have nothing to do, welcome you to just relax for a little while, but you can slowly start to move your fingers and your toes. You can start to roll the ankles or the wrists, shoulder blade squeezes if you're sitting, or just kind of move the knees a little bit if you're on your back, and gently open your eyes. I want to thank everyone so much for joining me. It's such a pleasure to be able to move with so many people I love when I can't see them normally. And I hope that everyone has a great rest of the evening and a good start to the week. Remember to take that little bit of kindness with you, and hopefully you take some of that hip strengthening and some flexibility with you as well. Thank you so much for joining.